3 digital agency startup mistakes. This video is going to be all about showing you, if you want to start your own digital agency, how you can avoid the 3 biggest mistakes that I've seen over the last 10 years, helping over 300 people start their own digital agency. So let's get straight into it, and right at the end I'm going to give you a takeaway how you can get started immediately with your digital agency and avoid all of the pitfalls that are going to be for you, because I've got to be honest, there's a lot more than 3 mistakes that people make. But let's just start with number 1, and in no particular order, I'm going to give you the first mistake that agencies make, and that is they try and do everything themselves. They try and do the bookkeeping, they try and do the design work, they run the ads, they do the account management, they do the sales, they do the washing up and the cleaning. They try and take on every single job. Now, don't get me wrong, when you first start, you do want to keep your costs low, and you do want to make sure that you're not overstretching yourself, because quite often you might be starting up your agency as your side hustle, or you might have a full-time job and you want to try and be as efficient as possible. But I remember way back when I first started my agency back in 2001, yes, it was that long ago I started my first agency, the first thing I did was hire a bookkeeper, because I got to work to my strengths, and I know if I've got to do the work as well as go out and prospect and get my clients on board, it's going to be really difficult doing all these things all at once. So know your strengths, know where you can focus your attention. Number 1 thing really should be getting clients on board. I very quickly outsourced the work, so I wasn't having to do the work myself. I wasn't doing the development work, I wasn't doing the design, I wasn't doing the programming, I wasn't doing the bookkeeping. I was focusing all my attention in the early days on prospecting and account managing, and keeping my existing clients spending more money with me and allowing me to scale my business. I see it all the time when people start off in their first agency and they end up just trying to do the lot, and it's so difficult to scale when you're spreading yourself that thin. So don't try and do everything yourself, work to your strengths, and as quickly as you can outsource. Make sure that you do that. So get your outsourced people on board, and in particular, if you're anything like me, make sure you outsource your bookkeeping. Okay, number 2. Number 2, and I see this mistake. This is probably one of my favourite ones that I like coaching partners on, because even with agencies that are really well established, not just startups, I see them making this mistake over and over again, and it's predominantly around what I'd refer to as client management. Client management is what you're really aiming for. Client control would be a better word, is what you're after. You want to be able to control the process that your clients go through. But so often with agencies, what I see is the clients managing the agency. The clients are dictating the rules, the clients are dictating the process, and therefore the agency are running like maniacs to try and be that yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, perfect supplier to the client, who becomes extremely demanding. So client management is all about having your SOPs in place. It's about having your systems so that the client follows the system, and that system is mapped out for the client first when you first engage with them, allowing the client to understand that your operating procedures are there to help them and you. And when you've got systems and processes in place that are defined right from the front, you control that client process and everybody benefits from it. But over and over again, I see people make themselves, they over-service their clients. They become open to, phone calls and emails that need responding to all the time. And when you first start off your agency, I've seen this happen. Typically, if you're trying to do everything yourself, DIY, and then you've not got proper client management processes or client control processes, you get to about 10 clients and you're capped out, you're working like a maniac, you're totally overwhelmed with the amount of work, you're responding to people at all different times of the night and day and morning, you're working weekends, and you're going to get to burnout. But when you control the client with your systems and processes, then you're going to make life so much easier for yourself. And guess what? The client is going to benefit from it even more, because the client will also be using a process that is proven to get them results. So third, biggest mistake that I see digital agencies make, and that is not having an MRR model as opposed to upfront payment. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's take, for example, a website. If you're a digital agency, one of the core products, every business needs a website. You're going to build a website. What I see agencies do all the time is go for a big upfront payment, and that big upfront payment is because they see it as, you know, the design and development fee, and then with a smaller MRR, monthly recurring revenue. What we want to do is flip it the other way around, where the upfront payment is smaller but the MRR is higher, because a website, as an example, is a tool to help generate traffic, awareness, conversions, to generate leads, to build the business's revenue, to help them grow. And in order to do that, the website needs to be worked on. You know, you've got to do your SEO, you've got to work on the content, you've got to work on the offer, etc., etc. Having the MRR model means that you get paid more every month, as opposed to having it in a lump sum up front, but the customer gets the benefit from you working on the business every month. And that's just one example. MRR can also be your SEO, it can be your Google Ads, it can be managing an AI bot or your CRM or whatever it might be. This is where the stability of your business is. This is where you get a predictable revenue. And the great news is that further down the line, the more MRR you've got, the more your business is worth. And the great thing about running a digital agency is you can make yourself redundant if you take care of all of this. You've got your MRR coming in, you've got your team working on the job, you've got your systems and processes. That means that everything's being taken care of with a process, and that means you can make yourself redundant and certainly have a lifestyle business once you've actually got the ball rolling. So those are the three main mistakes that I see digital agencies do, not only at startup, but very much so at startup, but also I see well-established agencies making these mistakes too. Now, if you want to find out more about how we deal with the training and how we educate Blam partners, then there'll be a link below you can click on where you can do a presentation where we'll talk you through our process in more detail. But it's getting over things like this in the early stages a reason people join us at Blam, because we give you the fast track to avoiding all the pitfalls that I made 20 years ago. Because believe me, this is three of many, many more. If you found that useful, like, subscribe, comment below, tell me what else you want to find out about, and I'll see you on the next video.